Slingshot. Slingshot is a science fiction movie. It is about a young astronaut, John, played by Casey Affleck. He is on a vital mission along with Nash and Captain Franks. Nash is played by Tomer Capone from The Boys. He's Frenchie from The Boys. And Lawrence Fishburne plays Captain Franks. John has awakened from one of several of the deep sleeps that are required to get this far across the galaxy. They're going to Jupiter to do a slingshot to Titan to get further into the galaxy to find a planet for that can that is good for humans. In his deep sleep, and with the drugs they're giving him for the deep sleep, somehow are messing with his head. He has visions on the spaceship. He's seeing things. Are the things he's hearing the other crew members saying, are those real? He has memories of a girl, Zoe, who was a scientist he fell in love with before he took off on this mission. They fell in love, had a torrid affair. This is shown in flashbacks and kind of his dreams. So flashbacks and dreams kind of merge in a sense. Zoe is played by Emily Beecham. It's a very claustrophobic sci-fi thriller set all on this spacecraft and then with these memories and or dreams. And Casey Affleck, by the way, I love Casey Affleck. People forget, Oscar winner. I think he's a very good actor. He's always interesting. I really loved a Casey Affleck film that maybe not a lot of people have seen. It's such a great film, is A Ghost Story, which is so good, from 2017. I love that film. And he's just in everything he turns up in. I've just really always loved Casey Affleck. Of course, Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix and so many other great things. And I'm not familiar with Tomer Capone's work, but in The Boys, I think The Boys has a great cast. And, so as Nash, he's very good. There's tension on the Starcraft because Nash doesn't think they're going to make it. The ship gets damaged on the hull. They don't know if the hull is going to hold. And Nash is not in favor of continuing the mission. They have enough fuel to get back home. If they turn around, Lawrence Fishburne as Captain Frank says, no, we're going to do it. It's not a big deal. And conflict arises between the crew about should they continue this very dangerous mission into space. This is all from John or Casey Affleck's point of view. And you could just say this. As a science fiction film, it's interesting for about the first 30 minutes. I'm giving it like some leeway here. I want to see what happens. But the thing that was the biggest weakness of this film was not the actors' performances. I thought they were fine. It's the production design and the directing. This sci-fi looks so cheap. They sit at the command center of this vehicle. They're sitting in front of what can only be described as gaming monitors and gaming setups. I'm serious, with these chairs sitting in front of big monitors where they're controlling the ship. It looks so cheap. We just saw Alien Romulus, which is the production value was incredible. Alien Romulus, I don't think anyone criticized the production, the practical effects. Alien Romulus was amazing. This is cheap AF. I was so disappointed. And it gets so predictable in the third act. No spoilers, but my God, the way they resolved it, I could describe this as it's like an episode of Black Mirror. It's not even as good as that. In spite of good performances from the actors, this is a 4 out of 10. Real disappointment. not worth seeing in theaters. It's barely a streaming movie. So while I'll see anything sci-fi or horror, don't bother with Slingshot.
The way you talk about it feels like indie filmmakers could have done this better.
Yeah, it's very indie, but the production design was so cheap. They made like one hallway and 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And they spent all the money on the actors.
Yeah.
So it was nothing was memorable, not the effects, not the story is even seems rehashed from other movies I've seen that are very much like this. So again, not impressed. And even though Casey Affleck, I think, is very good. See A Ghost Story. That's an indie that he was in that is so amazing. A Ghost Story, where he plays literally someone has a sheet on him. He's a ghost. It's so emotional and impactful and artful. Love that movie. This could have been something like that, but just bad choices. We've seen student productions, student done or short films, sci-fi films that had better production value than this movie.
Yeah, there's something about when you know going in that it's a low budget indie that you appreciate the guerrilla filmmaking tactics they use to make it look bigger, but at the same time, you give them a pass because you know that they didn't have money. Here, they had money, and they could have gone in. Sounds like they could have gone a couple extra steps here.
Well, we don't know they had money. It's possible it was very low budget, and clearly the cast was the most expensive thing.
But then it sounds like the script wasn't anything to write home about.
And also, by the way, I predicted the ending like very early on. Mm-hmm. So I was waiting and like, am I right? Am I right? Oh, I'm right. I predicted it, and you would probably too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but there also seems to be a lot of movies like this. This seems to be the new space genre, where you put people in a claustrophobic room and force them to deal with their shit.